Let's get the vibe right. Welcome to the show. Bison Spotlight. Chip and B Smooth, bringing heat to your ears. He washing the mix, facing down all fears. From the court to the crowd where the legends are born. Howard University, we're breaking the norm. Bison Nation stands strong through thick and thin. Basketball vibes, it's more than a win. Every dribble, every shot, it's a story to tell. Ray of excellence, we ringing the bell. Chip Washington's the name, self-proclaimed fanatic. In the heart of the game, his passion's emphatic. Come on, let's ride with the Bison crew. Passion and pride in everything we do. Hoops and dreams, we're reaching for the stars. Bison Brothers Podcast is who we are. Come on, let's ride with the Bison crew. Passion and pride in everything we do. Hoops and dreams, we're reaching for the stars. Bison Brothers Podcast is who we are.
Welcome to the Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast, your number one home for all things Bison basketball.
Yeah.
My name is Chip Washington, the self-appointed Bison basketball fanatic.
That's what's up. Yeah.
Yes, and you are?
I am E. Wash, brother of self-appointed Bison fanatic.
All good. And Bison Nation, as you can see, we do not have Be Smooth, but we're going to find a way to get them into this show. So don't despair, Be Smooth fans. He is coming during this show.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, man, since we are branching into all things media, I'm trying to resist the temptation to move into reality TV. See, I can't troll him since he ain't here, and maybe we want to talk behind the scenes.
Sure, you can. He won't see this. But before we get to trolling him, let's handle the business and tell everybody why we do this. And Bison Nation, you know why we do this. We want you to support these championship teams. Support them with your dollars, with butts in seats. And you can do that in so many ways. So many ways. You can give to the MEAC Society. That is the team's name, image, and likeness collective. You can do that by going to the MEACsociety.org. You can also donate through the Bison Express Booster Club at hubison.com. And you can give through FanStake at fanstake.com using the code MECA25. And please go to the games. We saw you in North Carolina Central on Fayetteville Street. Keep going to the games. The teams love to see Bison Nation in the stands. And as always, I would be remiss if I didn't tell everybody, plead with everybody, continue to tell everybody about this podcast. You can hear us on so many platforms. You can hear us on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, and you can follow us on Instagram at Bison Brothers Basketball. So today I'm excited to talk about these recaps with North Carolina Central. Excited to get into it. Can't wait to hear from E. Wash and his dynamic analysis. And so, E. Wash, let's get on into this show, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. And again, they say when the cat's away, the mice will play. And just to piggyback on your effort to get people to participate and donate, I just want to quote that great Morehouse brother Spike Lee. Especially since we play it tomorrow. Please, baby, please, baby, baby, please.
No doubt.
Yeah. See, I can't do that. I can't do that with Be Smooth here.
All good. So Bison Nation.
Let's get down to business.
That's right. We want to give you a roadmap. We don't want to hold you. We know you want to hear from these sharp minds and analysis about what happened. So right after this break, we will get into the recaps and the insights from Saturday's games. So here we go. Here we go. So I figure we'll start out with the ladies, and I feel like we should, give just a little bit of context. I mean, if for those that don't know, both teams were coming off of a loss. We were coming off of a major loss to the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, and North Carolina Central Eagles were coming off a loss to I think it might have been Coppin State. But either way, the women prevailed. We'll show you the score. We won 69-61, and there's a lot to get into with this game. But I figure before we get into it, and we talked about bringing, Be Smooth to the stage. And so, we want to let you know that, because we're media, first of all, Be Smooth was in the house.
That's right.
He was actually honored as king of the court for the women's team. So we want to give him some love. Hercules. That's right. Give him some love. He was king of the court. So he had all kind of access to the team, the stadium. And as you can see, he was also media.
Yeah.
Again.
And by that look on his face, even he couldn't believe it.
Indeed. And so to incorporate, we'll get some of Brian's thoughts about the game before we chime in with what we have to say. We'll see what Be Smooth, the correspondent for After the Buzzer, had to say.
Time with the team after the game, and they all agreed that this was not just a win, it was an ugly win, but it was also a character-defining win. They're trying to figure out how to win together, and today was just another good test. They keep stacking days, but they're saying, look, in the second half, they learned from the first half. They rebounded better. They stopped the turnovers. It was amazing. It was amazing, man. So everybody felt good about the win, but they still got work to do.
And, I think another thing to kind of set the stage, because since he was a correspondent, we might as well hear from some of the players before we dive in, with some of our insights. So this is just a little snippet from After the Buzzer. We're going to hear a little bit from April and a little bit from Z Payne.
About today's game.
I feel like we played hard. It was very much a game of runs. We definitely are like a very fast-paced team. And so I thought we got sped up a little bit, but we end up, pulling it out. And that's what we typically do, execute. And that's what we just looked to do today. And we did. We looking to start really putting teams away early.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we're struggling with right now. But I think as we continue to play, continue to learn each other, we'll definitely execute it and put these teams away.
How you feeling after this win?
I'm feeling really good. We brought it together in the fourth quarter, obviously to tie the game. So my mindset just going into the fourth was it's 0-0 and it's up from there. So we all just banded together on defense, wanted to get the stops, and then just turning it over not turning it over, but transitioning to offense, using our defensive stops on offense, and then picking it up from there.
Yeah. So I figured, that paints a nice picture and context. So tell me, Ewash, what did you see from this win versus North Carolina Central Eagles?
Well, what I saw, especially when I keep, I like that we're able to sort of tether back through the shows that we've already done. So I'm thinking about the MEAC preview, and kudos to you once again about prognosticating how tough the league was going to be, right? Number one. And what I see kind of based on that is that even though the games are close or the scoring isn't where we want it to be, they're stringing together wins. They're relying more on their defense. And, just even when I'm thinking about what Be Smooth said about even they're saying these are gritty wins for them. I think it's as the season kind of moves forward, this is going to be a blueprint for them. I think this is going to be a blueprint for them in terms of how to continue to put together wins. And like we talk about, not just player development in one sense, but team development also, to enhance their ability to win and elevate and fulfill the things that we keep talking about for this season. So, even though the scoring, like I said, isn't where we want it to be in terms of being spread out and that kind of thing, it's almost like it doesn't matter. You know, the team is bigger than the individual, and I think that's a great lesson to keep passing on as we move forward.
Yeah, yeah, and I think what I saw, and this probably to one of the points that you tend to make a lot is, I think coming into the game, everybody tends to talk about Zoe Stewart's scoring, her mid-range, lethal nature, and Zaniah Thomas, but this actually for Zoe, she only scored 6 points.
Right.
And so, to your point about it being a team, like when I look up and down the roster, Jada Kendrick, the people mover, she had 20 minutes. So not a lot of points, but really effective for the time that she was out there, 6 rebounds. We had good guard play, with Ariella and even Emma Newquay and April Edwards. So it's like Coach Grace said, when we talked to her earlier, in the season, she has so many players that she can go to. Like, that's a good problem to have.
Right.
And so that's what I saw here. It was like, even though I was, distressed that Zoe, went 3 for 11, which could usually spell, not a good sign.
Right.
But, we had so many contributions up and down the roster that I think it's just a matter of, again, we always talk about the depth that they have.
Yes.
And it was on display. So
and again, in honor of Be Smooth, man, I have to bear down and say sometimes it doesn't matter how you get the win, but just make sure you get the win. And also in honor of Be Smooth and his concern about point guard play, I did find myself gravitating when I was kind of doing my research and going through the box scores to see how our homegirl was doing, which brought me to another prop that I want to emphasize today: the great and awesome Allen Iverson. I don't know if we can see that.
Yes.
Allen Iverson, right?
Yes.
And why are we bringing him to the forefront at this moment? Often the criticism of him was not an efficient scorer, takes a lot of shots, but aggressive and quick. And those are the things I think I see with Hannigan. And on top of that, at least the last 2 games, she was the second leading scorer. So, when we're looking for, points, and I'm kind of just combing through giving a cursory glance through the box score, I'm like, okay, of course, you usually see Z Payne, right? But then last couple of games, the next name I see in double figures was Chi-Town's finest. So
that's right.
And again, that is not to kind of push to the side that we could be doing better. But again, one of the things I used to tell people about Iverson all the time is the reason, especially on his NBA Finals run, part of the reason he was so effective in spite of his height, in spite of his not shooting 50% from the floor, was because he was aggressive. He was getting to the free throw line, and he was collapsing the defense a lot. So I would encourage her, obviously, to improve the things that can be improved, but certainly don't take your foot off the gas pedal when it comes to your aggressiveness offensively, because we do need it. So, that's kind of where I am with that. Like I said, last couple of games, we're like, 11 points. 11 points again, and clearly we needed them. So that's my other kind of takeaway, from that.
And I think narrative wise, to kind of wrap it up, at least on the women's side, because they have the target on their back, like you could see North Carolina Central was trying to bring it to them. And like I said, the reason why I brought up their record, they were 0-3. Nobody wants to go 0-4 in the conference.
Right.
So, but I felt like all of the contributions, everybody met the moment when North Carolina Central, tried to punch them in the mouth. Like, you look at, it was pretty tight, 17-15 in the first quarter. we were up 14-13 for the second quarter. And then Central in the third quarter, which is usually a time when we kind of separate,
Right.
they actually outscored us 20-17. So, you know, but like I said, I was excited to see that they continued to meet the moment when the moment was brought to them.
Absolutely. And again, I don't have a shot chart in front of me, but just from the clips that we had from the women's game, I saw a lot more clips of them scoring inside first. You know what I mean? And which, you know, that's a foundational thing in basketball. So
yeah,
I in other words, you know, we're trending in the right way, even if the box score isn't telling the whole story.
And, you know, to your point, like I'm always interested in seeing kind of Rain Durant. You know, she's kind of a forward inside presence. You know, she only plays 6 minutes. So, you know, again, always looking at how can we improve or, you know,
absolutely.
You know, she's a definite force on the inside. So the fact that, you know, her and Zoe Stewart both didn't really have an impact is just more room for growth for the next game, as I see.
Or just to give you a little pushback, didn't have an impact offensively.
Offensively, right. And I just meant time-wise, like she only had 6 minutes.
Okay.
So yeah. And she usually has more minutes, you know, than that.
Yeah.
So
okay.
All right. Yeah. Well, I guess now we can move on to the men. There are some interesting storylines there. So let me see if I can find that score. So the men actually prevailed 83-69. It was a pretty convincing win. And I think, you know, context wise, again, like I think a lot of people felt the angst, right? We were 1-2.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, we projected the projected number 2 team in the conference entering our 4th game at 1-2.
Yeah.
North Carolina Central was 3-0. So
right.
You know, you hate to say, oh man, this is a must-win game so early in the season.
Yes.
But I think even by you could look at there was a big crowd, right?
Yeah.
This is an early season matchup, and their gym looked packed. And I think that spoke to the nature of how everybody was feeling about this game. And so I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts. Well, interested in hearing your thoughts.
I'll tell you what, the thing that hit me over the head not from the outset, but again, I'm piggybacking on B Smooth's concern about point guards. And you know, as I was watching the game, I just kept saying to myself, "Oh, Cam," because he was making those threes, baby.
Yes.
And it gave me a certain level of comfort, you know, because you know, it seemed like we've been having some shooting issues of late, especially since we've been in conference play. And he was shooting them with confidence. It wasn't like he was just chucking it up. You know, even the announcers were commenting on that. So that was the first thing that I saw. And then the other big observation, you know, we keep talking about, you know, changing things up with the lineups and having a concern about height. But ironically enough, you know, is the people with the most minutes in the last 2 games. 6'7" Taylor, 6'4" Bryce, 6'5" Okoji, 6'5" Bryson. That's 4 people, right? In other words, I think you even said to me in some of the game prep that Donis wasn't starting, right, this time.
Right.
Yeah. So it's almost like they was playing like Golden State small ball. You know, and in spite of that, scoring inside more for some reason. And it looked like, and I think we talked about this, if not in the MEAC preview in the beginning of the season, we talked about Taylor, even though he plays guard, giving us some inside presence. And I certainly saw some of that, you know. So I was just I was really impressed with, okay, especially since NC Central had multiple people 6'8", 6'9", and their scoring wasn't even as balanced. So it's not like they were even taking advantage of the fact that they had the height advantage in most matchups. So, I don't know if that means we got it all wrong. But they certainly seem to play a lot freer. Defensively, they seemed more aggressive and together. And I got to give Coach some kudos for trying some different things, in spite of the fact that they've been ranked and winning. It's like, hey, we might need to shake it up a little bit, and it also speaks to the depth. So I don't know, man. I was relieved and pleased at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, to see
so
the things
and
we talked about come up. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Now, what I saw was, like, how we always talk about trends and kind of what are we doing. So it's still, it's only 4 games, but I noticed that, we shot in the South Carolina State loss, we shot a 30.8% field goal percentage.
Right.
And, when University of Maryland Eastern Shore was 37.9%. Delaware State, we shot 54.7%, right?
Okay.
Got the dub. And then, at North Carolina Central, we shot 50%. Now, statistically over the season, I think we're about a 44% shooting team. So, it'll find its balance. But I think probably even if we were 45%, we probably still would have won this game just based on the contributions kind of up and down the roster. And, to your point, I think, like I said, from KB's standpoint, the fact that, Donis only played 7 minutes. And I think it's probably a matter of, we had Basket Robbins in there. I think he understands the toughness that's needed here in MEAC play. And so I think Donis is going to have an ability to kind of learn that while he's, kind of coming off the bench and learning. So I still have hope that he will use his 6'10" frame, in that manner. But it's almost like I could see KB's mind working like, hey, wait, I got to get some guys that understand, the grind. And so, to see Basket Robbins, Calvin Robbins, Chi-Town's finest, Kenwood, do his thing. It was very encouraging to see. Now, I want to play a clip from actually Coach Moten, who said something about our team that I thought you might find interesting, and it kind of speaks to what you just talked about in terms of the size. So this was Coach Moten after the game.
I don't need the stat sheet. We just got punked. I don't know. I studied all my synonyms. I don't know a better word, right? Like, we just got punked. They were bigger, faster, and stronger, first to the ball, throwing us out the way, right? And I guess you saw the level of physicality, against our guards and their guards, right? So they got 6'7" big guards, right? They got high major NBA type, prototype guards, and they were able to throw us out the way, get some offensive rebounds and some putbacks.
Yeah. That's, it almost, wow. No doubt, man. No doubt.
So what do you think about when you heard that?
I think that you would have almost thought he was describing like we had 2 7-footers out there. But I think, again, it speaks to the intentionality of one, aggressiveness. He touched on that. The intentionality of what's the energy? EGB. That's just another way of saying that. And I think in some ways I still feel like he was describing what he felt versus what he saw. Since we know we had a small ball lineup. Now he did, kind of specify it to the backcourt, but there's no question, man, that in my mind, Coach KB saw a need, and his mirror saw the impact of it, you know. So yeah, man, I think I'm moving forward. I think this is a trend to continue. You know, over and under. Don't overestimate. You know, the I don't want to say the stat sheet, but the in terms of their size. You know, oh, we don't have anybody 6'10", you know, even though we do. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's overrated. You know, just ask Charles Barkley, ask Adrian Danley, ask Draymond Green. You know.
Yeah. And I want to give OC Okogie his flowers.
Yeah, you beat me to it, man, because I was sure.
Man.
Matter of fact, what's Coach Moten? You know,
yeah,
all of it. I think I had a Coach Moten seizure every time I see Okogie, because I be thinking he's 6'9" myself, just the way he plays. You know what I mean?
And he's not small. He's 6'5".
Yeah, so, but I guess I thought he was taller than that, to be honest with you. You know, in my mind, he certainly plays bigger than that.
Yeah, and you know, I think the progression of him over these years, like he was Euro stepping. Right. I mean, just looking super smooth. Like I went to look at his stat. You know, his freshman year, he averaged 9 minutes a game. You know, the next year was like 20, like 20 minutes. Now he's getting 25 minutes. His field goal percentage is the highest that has been since he's been here. Oh, wow. Like, when you talk about player development, like he started out with his field goal percentage was was at 500, but now he's at 50, almost 57%.
Wow.
And you can see the work. He's stronger. I mean, like I was looking at the fan groups, everybody was just singing his praises. So major shout out to OC, working on this game. I think he's going to have a major impact throughout and, the rest of this season. And just wanted to give him a shout out, man. He works hard and it shows, on the floor. So,
and again, to at the risk of sounding immodest, it's the type of thing that's good for basketball. Seeing a player do that from beginning to end, kind of stick with one team, like the GOAT. That's man. That's a good sign. Definitely. I'm glad you brought that up, because it certainly was something that made an impression on me as I was kind of doing my research and thinking about what I saw from the game. His name definitely, me and you both like The Wire. His name is his name. His name rang out.
Indeed.
No doubt.
Yeah. And, I think another thing I kind of wanted to raise was, just like with the women, the men met the moment. And I say that in a not cliche way, because, not only do we have, Beast Move there, kind of giving us some feedback in terms of what he was seeing, but other fans as well were talking about, especially how Bryce, in the huddle, in the leadership was telling everybody, we got to meet the moment. And so you could see the toughness from everyone, in the game. So it was really, really good to see. And I'm looking forward to see, even though the MEAC is still wide open.
No question.
I'm looking forward to see, how this is going to play out.
So. And I think, since you brought it to my attention, I don't know if it's a clip we can play, but I would say one moment that defined it was that Bryce Harris dunk.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
let's see.
Even the announcers was like losing it.
and I had never seen him do that. And it, like I said, it was such a statement dunk.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It seemed like it defined the game.
But it was to see him go off of, right outside the dotted line and the momentum, to stop the momentum from Central. It was fantastic to see. So
okay, that makes me ask you a question too. So far this year, Who got the best dunk, him or Travell?
Ooh. I might have to go with Bryce just because of how it happened and when it happened.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I will say Travell still had like the alley-oop that, the alley-oops that Travell pulls off. Yeah. So, but I might have to give it to Bryce for that taking off on. It was unexpected, one hand flying through the lane. I was like, oh my, okay. I see you.
Fortunately, we got some ball players and some more seasons, so maybe we get a few more of those.
Yes, no doubt. Well, cool. Well, I think it's time to move into one of our favorite segments, over and under reactions. Okay. So right after this break, we will get into over and under reactions. Yes. Over and under reactions. So as a teaser, I only have an under reaction, but do you have anything for the people, Wash, on the over?
Well, I want to say, don't overreact to scoring. And who got 20 points and how many people we got in double figures? Don't overreact to that. Be cool. It's gonna be all right. and simultaneously, don't underreact to team play and defense and chemistry and coaching. Because for the umpteenth time over the weekend, I watched I can't believe I can't think of it right now. The Jordan documentary. I watched it again, and then shout out my man who does the content for Just Say You Hate Basketball. And because of watching him, he tends to focus on, even though it sounds cliche, the Jordan LeBron thing and all this and that. But one of the things that he brought up was, how Scottie Pippen behaved and when Mike was gone, getting more technicals, throwing chairs, the 1.8 seconds, whatever this and that. But when Mike came back, he calmed down. You know what I'm saying? He's having a better effect on other players. And not to say he didn't do that on his own, but again, because of that team chemistry, and it had a better impact on winning than just scoring to me. So I would just continue to encourage the Bison Nation to don't overreact to that. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Got it. So for my underreaction, right? So everybody is on the women's team, and we hear the angst. People talking about the PG situation, and yes, I'm people. So but then I heard from some of the point guards after the game, and this will give the context for my underreaction. Let me just hear what the PGs had to say here.
Just figuring out about your game and what are they trying to stop about you?
Well, I definitely think teams know that I'm a shooter and I'm a strong guard and I'm a strong PG, and I think just seeing the floor, my IQ, I think they have to watch out for the shooting, and I think I'm a three-way scorer. So, I think if you just had to assess though, I would say my shooting ability and my playmaking ability.
I love it, and we love seeing how you're really growing and developing. We know you had a stellar high school career, so Bison Nation wants to know, how's it been adjusting to D1 basketball?
I've been having some ups and downs, but the biggest adjustment I can say is definitely the tempo, because in college, the tempo is very faster than high school. So definitely just adjusting to the tempo, I feel, is my biggest adjustment.
Okay.
So with that being said, I first of all, and one of our listeners, Coy Lindsay, made this point as well. I like that she was self-aware enough,
Yes.
especially,
Yeah.
Ariella, to know that the
Yeah.
tempo, it's a step up.
Mhm.
So, she's got to
Mhm.
get used to, she had, I think, 4 turnovers,
Yeah.
in this last game, but coach still trusts her
Right.
in those clutch moments. And so hearing that made me go, we don't have a point guard problem. It's just a matter
There you go.
of time.
That's
So
right. That's right. And I'll give you another name that I just thought of as you were, going to that segment. Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd, matter of fact, I was asking again one of my basketball gurus if he thought Jason Kidd was a better point guard than Gary Payton, who Gary Payton clearly, offensively, no contest. I would say the assists would probably lean more toward Jason Kidd, I would imagine. They both great defenders. Neither one of them was the greatest shooter, but Kidd definitely became he's in the all-time list for three-pointers made. And remember his nickname coming in was Ace's Kid because he had no J.
that's right.
Right.
That's right.
And so I keep thinking about her, like don't get hung up on that right now. She's impacting winning, seem like to me, whatever's going on. So I'm with you there, and I hope that kind of reinforces that point. You can't look at Jason Kidd statistically and say, oh man, he's not on this. Matter of fact, John Stockton wasn't even the greatest scorer. And if I go back home one more time to Maurice Cheeks, all of these people were able to impact a game without scoring 20, 25 a game and this, that, and the third. So yeah, she gonna be all right. She's gonna be all right. Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. Well, hey, I like the way we kind of wrapped up this show. And by the time it airs, it'll be after the Morehouse game. So do you want to go on record as to what you think will happen?
Well, I almost don't feel like I want to take a deep dive because my man ain't here, and I don't know.
Oh, we can wait.
Appreciate the trolling to say, but in true Big Joker style, I would say, oh man, that's tough to be honest with you. That's tough to be honest with you. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Bison. I'm going ahead and pick the Bison this time. Well, one, because we took one of their players.
Yes.
For starters. And I think I did look at the Morehouse record, kind of do a little research. I don't think they're having a bad season. So, that's not to say it won't be competitive. But my gut says after last year, and, again, a little poor frog don't praise his own pond, given the expansion of our viewership, who knows if they've been listening to our banter back and forth about it. So, we will see. We will see. We will see.
Indeed. I'm looking forward to it. I think to your point, the fact that we got Cedric, who was one of the players that was killing us last year, I think he's going to be motivated to make sure that he's on the winning side this time. So I'm predicting a W, but a very competitive game. So we'll see when this comes out after the game, whether we look crazy or, smart as we always do. So
that's right.
Well, hey, I always love doing the show with you, man, and Be Smooth. It's just so exciting to talk about the thrills, the ups and the downs of the season, the arc of the season, and see how it goes. But if you are clear, I'm gonna go ahead and close this show on out.
Okay. Well, I guess the only other thing, what time is this airing? This is a 118 to 447. We have to, since he is our brother, we have to invite him to bear down since his team is out of the playoffs.
No doubt. No doubt. Yes. Yes, it is time to bear down. Well, Bison Nation, we appreciate you as always for checking us out. Don't forget, tell everybody, subscribe to the podcast, hit the comments, let us know what you think about the superb analysis that we put on today. Continue to donate to the Mecca Society, donate to the Bison Express Booster Club, donate to Fan Stake, continue to go to the games, hit subscribe, hit like, tell everybody about this podcast. And I see my man E-Wash doing what he normally does.
Yes, and it's only because B Smooth is not here. So I was like,
what you got?
Let me roll the dice.
What you got?
We did talk about a good for basketball segment, and one of the things that I thought about, especially since B Smooth is in North Carolina and we played North Carolina, well, two things actually. If I'm going to channel my inner B Smooth, one of the things I wondered about when I saw Jordan brand on the jerseys was, I was like, well, I thought Howard was exclusive, and then it turns out we are, and that Nike is their primary sponsor, even though they wear Jordan brand jerseys. So I figured that would fit B Smooth's, we still the Mecca narrative, right? And and then, and you from Chicago, I used to see the name John McClendon all over the city. And even though the park across the street from our house didn't have a name for a long time, I think it did become named John McClendon, right? And so to see that portrait, that big mural on the wall, every time, there's a transition or a camera shot go by, I was like, oh, wow, John McClendon, man. So it reminded me of a good for basketball segment in this sense. One of the amazing things about James Naismith, the inventor of basketball, is all of the modern people that are still connected to his coaching tree. And it turns out John McClendon is one of those people. He's not too far from the top. There's him, Fog Allen, Adolph Rupp, Dean Smith, as I was kind of digging around. And then, we did earlier bring up John McClendon when we were talking about, him inventing the fast break. But the other thing that I found out was he invented the four corners offense. And of course, Dean Smith is the person that made it famous. But like a lot of things in America, we invent it, they blow it up. And I love Dean Smith. Don't you know that? No offense, Coach KB, Coach K, my homeboy John Shire, bear down, right? I just to know that John McClendon invented the four corner offense just blew me away. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. And, that's the only reason I put my hand up. Sheepishly, sir.
Ladies and
gentlemen, that's good for basketball, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, now you see the beauty of what is E-Wash. In the green room, we said there won't be a what's good for basketball. And yet, he pulled it off with a good one. Oh, what's good for basketball. So Bison Nation, take that with you. I've already given you the call of action, and that is give, and tell everybody about this podcast.
Please, baby, please.
Indeed. You know how we do. We're going to end this show like we end all of our shows. And that's H-U. You know.